everyone, Claire Fluffle here, and surprise, surprise, I am not here to talk about burgers. Do you know how many of those things I had to go through in the last 2 days? I'm not made out of money, you know. But if you want to help make that a reality, please give this video a like, ring that notification bell after subscribing, and at least leave the video running from start to finish. Watch time, very crucial. If you really want to go that extra mile, you can consider donating to my Patreon and becoming a patron to get neato perks, including early access to videos like these. Special thanks go out to my head-patting Fluffle fan patrons, Biohazard, Dips Fiora, and Miss K says, "Do your homework, Steve. I love you guys. Thank you so much." But with all of that said, I don't quite know what the common consensus is on the soundtrack for Kirby's Dream Land 2. It's got a couple of iconic tracks, but most of it I don't really hear talked about very much. There are 3 good reasons for that, don't get me wrong, but I'm still interested to know what the community's overall thoughts are. Obviously, it doesn't rank very highly for me, but this is still a soundtrack I find myself coming back to regularly for its high points. And while those high points are high, and the low points not that low, a bulk of this soundtrack to me does admittedly feel fodder-ish. Not bad, but not great, and this is felt most with the world and map themes. These were lovely in Adventure, and made running through the hub world so much more enjoyable than it really had any right to be. In Dreamland 2, though, they're all so basic and short, and not really memorable. I'll admit to loving the map music to Grassland. I don't know why, to be honest, it's just kind of soothing for me. And Red Canyons is memorable, if only because it's Star Allies, but overall, they feel pretty nothing to me. The soundtrack for the stages themselves, though, really good. It easily meets the standard for what the series usually sets. I like how World 1 Grassland isn't as in-your-face energetic as Kirby opening music normally is. It's pleasant and upbeat, sure, but it takes its time and actually eases you into the playing experience. Then you get to Big Forest, and BAM! Fast-paced, energetic, and fun, just the way we like our Kirby games. A couple of the tracks in the future worlds do also wind up being remixes from previous games. Yeah, they got on that trend fast. But unlike, say, Dream Collection, they're actually new remixes. They're not just directly carried over, so I can enjoy them on their own. I do prefer the original versions for, I think, all of them, but that's not to say that these are bad at all. I quite like them. I think Dark Castle has to be my favorite music of the regular stages, though. And that's funny to say out loud, given how much I hate Dark Castle, but the music, I gotta admit, goes in hard. It's just so climactic. It really gives off the vibes that the journey you're embarking on is almost over, but you're at the most perilous part. Don't give up, Kirby. Brave the Dark Castle and defeat Day-to-Day at the top. So good, and while I really wish it was given to a better part of the game, it at least helps mitigate the nonsense that is actually playing through Dark Castle. In particular, this really sings in the final level. Again, just so climactic. But even that pales in comparison to my favorite track of the entire game, the especially climactic final fight against Dark Matter. I don't think that I would call this scary, but it definitely gives off intimidating vibes as you fight off this creature who's been taking control of the dreamland that you know and love, being a creature you know nothing about. And with a name like Dark Matter, you know you're fighting the essence of evil. Or not, according to some instruction manuals, but we can just put that to the side for now. Pretend it doesn't exist. I've got something good going here. The track itself is a bit on the short side, but that's okay. In a way, it really helps sell the mystery further. This short, frightening loop plays as this mysterious swordsman and the eventual true manifestation of darkness appear to take you down for good. This is another one where I think the fight itself sucks, but the music, as always, absolutely kills it. A real highlight of the soundtrack and one of seemingly infinite bangers for Kirby final bosses. So overall, great soundtrack, right? Yeah, it is a great soundtrack, actually. We're at that point already to where I don't need to pull a sudden twist. I do really like this one. But there is a reason why it's so far down, and to explain that, I'm gonna bring up a point that I made during the Extra Epic Yarn video. You can watch that video if you want to. Please watch it from start to finish to help my analytics. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you! But the long and short of my point was that the soundtrack didn't work from a gameplay point of view. A 5-second loop or whatever would constantly play and ruin the good vibes of that soundtrack, and if you played the mode that didn't have that loop, it just felt like a constant reminder that you were playing a not very good game when a better game was right there. Dreamland 2's soundtrack doesn't have this problem nearly to that extent, trust me, but it still has a variation of that problem, and to me, it has a noticeable effect on my enjoyment of the soundtrack as well as the game itself. In particular, those fun level themes that I was praising earlier, Big Forest, Dark Castle, all that jazz, you're barely gonna hear those because realistically, you'll only be hearing the Animal Friend themes throughout the game. This is an idea I'd love for the series to bring back in heavy moderation, but every animal buddy, Rick, Kine, and Koo, have a specific theme that plays while you're using them. And in a vacuum, I like these a lot. Of the three of them, if I had to pick a favorite, I'd definitely go with Rick's theme. So fun and upbeat, which doesn't describe Rick very well at all, but whatever. Koo and Kine's theme are also excellent. If I had to rank these, I'd go Rick number 1, Kine number 2, Koo number 3, but I enjoy all three of them. When I'm not playing the game. Yeah, if you thought that it would be like the bike from post RBY Pokemon, where the bike music doesn't play literally all the time while you're riding the bike, you'd be wrong. The only areas the Animal Buddy music doesn't play is versus bosses, does for mini bosses though, and their bonus rooms, the goal game, and the world map. Everywhere else, it plays, which basically means you only hear 3 tracks throughout your playthrough. I guess 5 if you count the goal game and the boss music, but I don't, so there. I want to love these themes because, I mean, they're really, really good, but when it's all you hear when you play, at least 90% of the game, they get really grating really fast. Koo's theme in particular will have this effect. And no, this isn't the speedrunner in me talking. This has been a meme with the casual side of the Kirby community for decades. Literal decades. This game is almost 30 years old. The easy solution is to not play with the Animal Buddies then, right? You can do that, but you're playing a much lesser game. You not only lose out on the Animal Buddies, but all of the ability combinations therein. Sure, you get more music variety, but you lose out so much in the game itself. Again, it's a lot like Extra Epic Yarn in that regard. Still not nearly as bad, thankfully, but still. Aside from that and the aforementioned fodder, I don't have too many complaints, but those are really big complaints that drag the experience of the soundtrack as a whole down for me. But does that mean I think it's bad? No, I just said I thought it was great. The bar is just really, really high for me with these soundtracks. I think I've gotten everything I wanted to say about Dreamland 2 out of the way though, so we'll call it here. We're only 5 days in and over 10 soundtracks down, so I think we're making pretty good progress so far. Do you think you know what tomorrow's soundtrack is gonna be? Let me know that in the comments too. I'm very curious to see if you'll be right. But until I see you all again, I have been Claire. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you around. Bye!